Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this program, Moments with God, where I share with you my simple and humble reflections in an informal way, with the hope that this will help you and me in our spiritual journey and in establishing a relationship with God and eventually even friendship with God. And if you would like to subscribe to the channel, you may please do it now. Of course, someone pointed out to me that some people think that to subscribe they have to pay. No, please note that you don't have to pay anything. You just have to go to the end of the video. When my picture appears, click on that and you will find an option to subscribe. And if there is a possibility of a bell icon, then please press on that too. And if you like the video, please share it also with others so that others also take advantage of it. Thank you. Today I'm not going to speak too much about the first reading, though the first reading is also very strong, where God is upset and speaks through another prophet, Micah. No more Isaiah. Till yesterday we had from prophet Isaiah readings, but today it is from the prophet Micah, who is condemning people who exploit others, who do injustice to others, who look for chances to take away things that do not belong to them from especially the poor and the oppressed. And God wants that to be avoided and to do the right thing, practice mercy. But today's gospel is also uh, not quite interesting. Yes, interesting. Every gospel is interesting, but it's a bit frightening, because the gospel begins like this: the Pharisees went out and took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. That's why I said it is a little uncomfortable reading. When Jesus realized this, he withdrew from that place. Many people followed him, and he cured them all, but he warned them not to make him known. This was to fulfill what had been spoken through Isaiah the prophet. Behold, my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved in whom I delight. I shall place my spirit upon him, and he will proclaim justice to the Gentiles. He will not contend or cry out, or will anyone hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, a smouldering wick he will not quench, until he brings justice to victory, and in his name the Gentiles will hope. Of course, the quote from Isaiah is only fulfilled by the works of Jesus and by the announcements of Jesus, and what is also mentioned today in the first reading, or also last week or last days from the book of Isaiah, where God through prophet was always talking about justice, particularly to the poor, and not to oppress the poor and exploit them. This is what is happening, what Jesus was saying yesterday, if you remember, when the Pharisees pointed out that your disciples are not observing Sabbath. Then Jesus, of course, told them, in the end, he said, go and read what it means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, which is, of course, a quote from the book of Hosea, chapter 6. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. But is that a reason to be provoked? Actually, this is the reason why the Pharisees were provoked. And they went and took counsel or gathered together to plot to kill Jesus, not just to get rid of him from the region and bring some law to stop him preaching. They wanted to kill him. For what? Because he's talking about justice to the poor and do not sacrifice mercy at the cost of sacrifice. Yes, he was repeatedly saying that yes, sacrifice is important, true, but when somebody's life, it can be saved and should be saved, should you quote the rules of Sabbath, which is this and which is that? And the Pharisees, who relied so much only on the rules and on the things that were prescribed in the Torah, they could not digest that. They did not want mercy. I'm sorry to go back to what I said also yesterday, that sometimes it is within the church, not the church itself, but some of the representatives of the church make it so difficult for people to experience the mercy and love of God. Because for them, it is easier to go and quote a rule or rely on the books of rules rather than show sympathy, show empathy, show mercy to people. Of course, mercy is much more than just justice. God is in the first reading and in the last week as well. And Jesus also is talking about justice. And this quote from the book of Isaiah, which is being quoted in today's gospel, and which says, I shall place my spirit upon him, and he will proclaim justice to the Gentiles. And also, again, in the end, until he brings justice to victory. So, justice is certainly a priority for God, but for God, more than justice, justice is the first level, but mercy is even more important than justice, which Jesus had quoted. I desire mercy and not justice. And this was unacceptable to those Pharisees, and sometimes it is unacceptable also to our own people. If I may just digress a bit, actually, there are quite a few cardinals and conservatives, not very many cardinals, but few cardinals and bishops who are against our present Pope Francis, because Pope Francis is always speaking about the poor, about accommodating those who are left out of the church, because these bishops rely on rules. This is what we have learned in the past, and this is what Pope Francis is breaking according to them. But Jesus broke so many laws as well. Broke in the sense, he said, yes, Sabbath is not, man is not made for Sabbath. Sabbath is made for man. Rules are made for man, because man's life and man is more important for everything than these little rules which you bring out to defend yourself, and to, because you don't have anything more to offer to people, because you do not care from your heart for the people. You are not like shepherds, Jesus used to tell them. And Jesus therefore said, I am the good shepherd. My sheep know me, and I know them. And what Pope Francis is always trying to show and tell the world is that the church should be like a field hospital where the injured are brought for the treatment. When somebody is injured, Pope said, we do not ask, where have you been, what have you done, why is this injury? First, what he requires is uh, treatment. First, what he requires is medical attention. Then we can talk about everything else. And that is the role of the church, that everybody is welcome. Last year, when he was in Portugal for the World Youth Day, and he said, yes, all are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome to the church. Yes, that is what the church is for. Then we can talk about, let the people come to the church, then we can talk about what is wrong, and before preventing them to come to the church by quoting rules. And this is what, of course, provoked the Pharisees to go against Jesus, including the fact that they wanted to kill him. Of course, I find it very nice that also Jesus, when he came to know about it, he withdrew from the place. I think Jesus did his game, he played his game well, because his time had not yet come, and therefore he did not want to at that time confront the Pharisees. He confronted them and he spoke, and eventually he was put to death because of that. But at this time, he realized that it was not yet time for him to be crucified, so he withdrew himself. Sometimes it pays to withdraw ourselves from the situation of conflict and be a bit of diplomatic in trying to solve an issue. And if you would like to subscribe to this channel, you may please do it now. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.